Alright, now we're going to talk about the vertex form for parabolas or quadratics. Vertex form, you have y equals a multiplier times the quantity x minus h squared and plus k. H and k are the vertex for your parabola. So once we know h and k, we can plug them in, and then we just have to figure out what the multiplier is. So let me show you how that works. If we have this graph and we want to determine the quadratic function whose graph is given, so here's our graph right here. To write the equation to this graph, we first need to find the vertex, which is fairly easy to find on all graphs. It's this point right down here, which is -3, -7. Okay, now I'm trying to put it into this format. Y equals a times x minus h quantity squared plus k. I know h and k, so I can plug those in. I can also find an x and y value on my function. I'll pick an easy one like this one right here, which is 0, 2. Now I can plug these points in to my equation. Y is 2, a I don't know, x is 0, h is -3, and k is -7. Now I can just solve for a. So I take 0 plus 3, that's 3. Squared is 9, so I have 9a, and subtract 7. Now I add the 7 over and I get 9. So 9 equals 9a. I divide and I get a is 1. So my equation is y equals 1 multiplied to x plus 3 quantity squared minus 7. Here is my equation for this parabola. Now here's another parabola, another quadratic function. The vertex for this one is at 2, 9. Then I can pick another point on here. It looks like I got a nice one right down here. This one is 0, -3. And I'm plugging it into my vertex form, which is y equals a multiplied to x minus h quantity squared, and then plus k. So my y value is -3, a I don't know, x is 0, h is 2, and k is 9. So I multiply the a in and I get -2a plus 9. So now I subtract 9 and I get -12, and that's -2a. So now I divide and I get that a is 6. Which means now that my equation y equals, oh, I messed up. Somebody didn't catch me. You forgot the squared. So y is -3, a is, we don't know. X minus, x is 0, minus the h, which is 2, and then that's squared, and then plus 9. Don't forget the squared. A lot of people forget the squared. It's very easy to forget the squared, as you just saw, so don't forget that it's squared. So you got -3 is equal to 4a plus 9. Then subtract the 9, we get -12 equals 4a. And you divide by 4 and you get that a is -3. So your equation y equals -3 multiplied to x minus 2 quantity squared plus 9. This is your equation for this parabola. Now one way to kind of check really quickly with this -3, if we start at the vertex and we go 1 in the direction, either direction, doesn't matter, left or right. We just go 1. If you go 1 and then drop down to the function, notice that we dropped down 3 spots. So we went over 1 and we dropped down 3 spots. That is your A value. So if it is right on a line, it's fairly easy to tell your A value, but remember you must go over 1. So regardless of what it looks like, you go over 1. So if we look at the previous example, when we go over 1, it goes up 1. So this would be our A value right here, A value. It's not always nice on the graphs that have been given to you in the book, so you don't want to always go off this. You want to plug things in and solve for A. But you can always check to see if you got the correct A value just by looking at the graph. So if it says that your A value is negative 3.5, if you go over 1 and you drop down 3.5, it should be right exactly on the graph.